Yeah, today we're going to be talking about the Medici family and the patronage of the arts and the rise to Florence. And this is just going to be a little video for y'all, so you can either review it before class to know what we're going to talk about this week, or to review after class if you just need a little refresher while you're studying. So first we're going to talk about the territory before the Medicis. At the end of the 14th century, Florence was ruled by the mercantile elite. There were many costly continuous wars that enlarged the territory of the city-state by conquering Arezzo, Cortona, Perit, Pistoia, and Pisa. Pisa's ports made the Republic of Florence a sea power and a major economic power in the West. Next, we're going to talk about the economy pre-Medici. So banking was the major source of power and income, which it still was during the Medici time, because the Medicis were bankers before they gained all of this power. And the Florentine gold coin, the florin, was so reliable that it became the standard coinage in Europe. And much of Florence's wealth was dependent on the manufacture and trade of cloth, primarily wool. Next, we're going to talk about the ruling families before the Medici. So Florence was controlled by the Albizzi and Pazzi family until about 1438. The Albizzi family had controlled the Republican government for 2 generations, but they led a lot of costly wars, so the people switched alliances to the Medici. The Pazzi families were wealthy bankers that were in a semi-friendly competition with the Medici family. Eventually, they tried to dispose of the Medicis because they were getting too powerful, but they failed and their lineage came to an end. The beginning of the Medici power started with Giovanni de' Medici. He was first of the famous ruling Medicis and was considered a founder of the Medici family fortune. Giovanni is considered to be the first prominent patron of the arts. He was a leader not concerned with politics, but rather the family fortune and the arts. Giovanni died in 1429, and his son Cosimo became head of the Medici family. So the Church of San Lorenzo. In the 1420s, Giovanni de' Medici and Cosimo commissioned Brunelleschi to do an extensive renovation, and it became the first church since Roman times to use the classical style. The church also houses Michelangelo's famous Medici tombs, which are still there today, so you can go visit them. The rise of Cosimo. He became head of the powerful family bank and amassed a fortune because he brought the Medicis to become the banker to the Pope, and this bank also spread to the important financial markets throughout Europe. Cosimo was very interested in the rebirth of classical ideas. He was also a very religious man, and much of his patronage of the arts was rooted in his religious favor. Cosimo spent a considerable portion of his wealth on the arts. He amassed the largest library in Europe, and he supported artists such as Ghiberti, Brunelleschi, Donatello, Alberti, Fra Angelico, and Uccello. Florence became cultural center of Europe because of him. So the fall of Cosimo, because everyone rises and they all come to an end. His political career was in shambles after Florence's unsuccessful campaign against Lucca. The campaign was engineered by Brunelleschi to flood the city of Lucca, containing water within the giant dam. The plan backfired when the dam broke and flooded camps of Florence as well. In September of 1433, Cosimo was imprisoned on charges of plotting to overthrow the government. Cosimo was then banished to Venice, resulting in the loss of Brunelleschi's most powerful patron. So Lorenzo de' Medici, he's the grandson of Cosimo. Lorenzo, he's also known as Lorenzo the Magnificent. He is said to be the most brilliant of the Medicis. He's also very respected, talented, and poet. And like his family members, he was very interested in texts of antiquity. Lorenzo is considered to be the greatest patron of the arts. He commissions artists and musicians such as Michelangelo, Botticelli, and Verrocchio. Reasons for this patronage include genuine interest, He wanted to continue the family traditions and political motives. Lorenzo even discovered the talented Michelangelo when the artist was only 15 years old. So Lorenzo's political ties to the arts. He commissioned several musicians for papal music. Although he did have a genuine interest in music, his reasons for gaining the services of the French musicians was a political move to enhance the relations with France. Lorenzo died in 1492. At that moment, started a new historical era. Lorenzo was succeeded by the fervent leader, Savonarola. So, the Medicis eventually had a fall from power, and Gromolaro Savonarola was a preacher who settled in Florence in 1489. He attacked the tyranny of the Medici family in his sermons, and in 1494, Charles VIII of France invaded Italy. The Medicis lost their power, and Savonarola took control, which put Florence under extreme rigid control. Eventually, Savonarola's followers turned on him, and he was killed. So, the fall of the Medicis. Cardinal Giovanni de' Medici, he is Pesara's uncle. He regained control of Florence in 1512 for the lineage. In 1569, Cosimo III became the Grand Duke of Tuscany after taking over many of the surrounding areas. He ruled with a heavy hand. He was not very popular. His heirs were far weaker than he was. In 1737, Cosimo III died, and both of his children, Guillaume Gladstone and Anne-Marie Louis, died childless. And the Medici line dies out, and then Florence is inherited by the Lorraine dynasty. So, to summarize, the Medici family played a crucial role in the development of Florence and the broader Italian Renaissance. So, Giovanni de' Medici, he was often credited with founding the Medici dynasty. He established the Medici Bank in the early 15th century, and his bank operations laid the groundwork for the family's wealth and political power. So, Cosimo, he's also known as Cosimo the Elder. He took control after his father's death. Cosimo became the de facto ruler of Florence, promoting arts and humanities. He funded the construction of the Basilica in San Lorenzo and was a patron to the artists and thinkers including Donatello and Brunelleschi. Lorenzo the Magnificent. He was a key figure during the peak of the Medici power. He supported renowned artists like Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, and Botticelli, helping to foster a vibrant cultural environment. Lorenzo also navigated complex political landscapes, securing alliances through marriage and diplomacy. So not only were the Medici's cultural patrons, they also wielded significant political power. They controlled Florence's government and were involved in a broader politics of Italy. The family produced several popes, including Leo X and Clementine VII, which further extended their influence across Europe. The family did face challenges in the late 15th century, including political strife and the rise of rival factions. After Lorenzo's death, the Medici lost power temporarily during the Republic of Florence. We haven't talked about Catherine de' Medici, but she was a member of the family who became Queen of France. She did play a significant role in French politics, and she helped to restore the family's power in Florence. So the Medici's contributions to the Renaissance are monumental. They funded significant artistic projects, including Michelangelo's David and the construction of Uffizi Gallery. Their patronage helped establish Florence as a center of culture and learning, influencing art, science, and politics throughout Europe. The Medici dynasty continued into the 18th century, but their political power diminished. The families became Grand Dukes of Tuscany, and with the death of Gian Gastone de' Medici in 1737, the family line ended. So to sum it all up, the Medici's legacy endures through their contributions to art and culture. The family is celebrated not only for their wealth and political maneuvering, but also for their role in fostering a transformative era in European history, making Florence a beacon of Renaissance thought and creativity. So that is going to be the end of our little discussion of the Medicis. Whether you're watching this before class, I can't wait to see you all in class and discuss further in more depth. And if you're watching this after class, I hope it helps with your studying, and I hope you're ready for the upcoming test. Bye, y'all!